Hello, and welcome back to another Minecraft Let's Play video with me, Elven Dragon. So last episode we went and built up a small little coal tree, at least started to before we got distracted to go raid a trial chamber, and ended up coming back with a bunch of useful goodies and a bunch of copper. And all that copper's got me thinking, and got an idea of what I want to do for a copper tree. Now, before we get into that, I do want to finish up the coal tree. We've got all the branches in now, so I kind of want to get those set before we start working on another tree. That'll also help prevent us doing what we did with the emerald tree and just having a skeletal tree sitting here for a very long time. So before we go and work with all the copper in the shulker here, let's go and get that finished up. Now for this coal tree, what I'm thinking is that most of our stuff we've gotten with two different colors of glass. And what I'm thinking for the coal tree is we're going to do something similar. But instead of using a second color of glass, what I think we're going to do is we're going to use a little bit of tinted glass. And I think that'll look a lot better with the color scheme. I think that'll look really nice. It'll go really well with the black, I think. So if we just do that, there we go. That gives it a nice kind of dark look. So we're just going to do this. I'm going to mix these two together as we go through the tree to do our leaves for this, and I think that'll be good. Now for our light sources, we do have a bunch of torches here, and I'm thinking we're just going to put those on the branches and we'll do the glass around them maybe? I'm also thinking maybe we can get out a flint and steel, which we might actually have on us. Don't actually remember if I put it away or not, but we might take that out to go and actually light some regular fires on top of this thing, because what you do with coal is it gets burnt usually as fuel, so I'm thinking that might be good. I also want to try mixing in a few little pieces of red, yellow, and orange glass into here. Just little 1 block spots into the leaves just to give it a little bit more color and also kind of be more like little bits of fire kind of mixed in. So we got the red there, we'll do some orange there, put, I guess, red there. I was planning on doing yellow, but red works there as well. Just little pieces here and there. I want to try that out. We've also got some panes, so we could do little panes of those around the tree, like what we did for the emerald tree and the gold tree. Something along those lines. And that's just to give it just a little bit of flame feel. Not too much. I'm not certain I want to do much more than this, since it is supposed to be a very dark tree. But I'm going to figure that out while I get these in. Figure out how we're going to do the torches, or flames if we do flames. Maybe we'll do flames. Flames could be cool. And then I'll be right back. Alright, so after a little bit of fiddling, I decided against putting fire on top of the branches. Just wasn't looking quite right, and decided instead of decorating the branches like we have with the other trees, why don't we decorate the trunk and put torches off of that? Now, we still need the roots and everything else hanging down, but that's just going to require a bit of fiddling. I do want to get the actual island built up here first before we really start playing with those. Obviously, we're going to have some that just drape down this here and just kind of shroud the island a little bit. But again, I need to play around with that. But now I'm thinking we should probably work on that copper tree, because I've got a few ideas. I know exactly where I want to put this. Kind of spreading out the trees throughout the area, or at least the initial ones. We'll figure out where we want to put the rest of them later. But the idea for putting the torches hanging off the trunk as kind of like little short burning branches actually came from my idea for the copper tree. And that's to use those new copper bulbs that we got from the trial chambers and use those inside the trunk to provide light. Now what I'm thinking is that we're gonna put in a small little island over here with our flower farms. I think that's where it'll go good. We don't have any other trees here. We got amethyst, oops. We got amethyst, gold, iron, emerald, and coal. So most of our stuff is over on this side. We got a little bit there. It is for the most part in one big arc through this section here. And there's not really anything over here. So I'm thinking what we might do is we'll either put it somewhere over here in between our lilac island and our one tall flower farm, or maybe we'll put it up higher. I'm tempted to do higher so we don't have to worry about the wall, and it'll also be a little bit easier to get started if we go from on top of this island here. So I'm going to go and fiddle around, get at least the base of the island in and set up. Then I'll be right back. All right, so we once again have a new little island here with the copper ore inside of it. And looking at the ore here, and I'm thinking I know exactly what we're going to do for the leaves for this. So as you can see, it's kind of got an orange and a teal. So I think we're going to do a little bit of that. Plus, once the copper starts oxidizing a little bit, it takes on kind of a pinkish color. So I'm thinking we're going to do a little bit of that. So we're going to have some teal, pink, and orange as the leaves. I don't know how it's going to look. Hopefully like it's bits of copper that have oxidized. I'm thinking we're going to do some stuff with this. I need to get an axe so we can scrape some of the wax off of these. That way we can get different oxidization levels. But I'm thinking we're basically just going to do a small little tree up like this. Got so many different copper things here that we can use. So that is definitely going to be interesting. But I'm thinking what we're going to do is we're basically going to have the tree go out diagonally this way. That way we can get a little bit of a curve away from the wall here. And then almost immediately, once we do this, we'll just use the regular copper blocks right now. We can mix in the rest of these later. Definitely want to do the bulbs in here. I'm thinking that'll look really nice. We can just put a light source on top of those, or a button on those, light those up later. We should have a little bit of stone stashed away, building up the island. There we go. So if I'm not mistaken, if we do that, that stays lit. Perfect. We can use that to light up the tree, and it'll be just part of the tree. I think that'll be perfect for what we want to do. But what I'm thinking is that as soon as we turn here, we're just going to keep turning a little bit more so that it goes out this way. We need to figure out maybe some support here and maybe some on the back. Also use a little bit of our stairs and slabs in this too, because this does have stair and slab varieties. Then we're just going to go up by 2, and then we can start putting in the branches. Now for the branches, what I'm thinking is we can use some of the grates in that. It's going to be very interesting to do, because these are kind of thinner. They're kind of like leaves. I think maybe, actually, I think what we're going to do is we're going to mix those in with the leaves as well. Have a few of those oxidized and go from there. So I need to go and finish planning out the base of the tree here so we can actually get some of these set up and do some of the detailing, figure out where I want to scrape the wax off to get different oxidation levels, and then I'll be back. So after getting the rest of the branches in and setting up a few grates to oxidize to different stages down below, I'm thinking that while we wait for this to oxidize to the levels that I want it to, we might as well go and work on another one of our islands. Now, if this gets too far oxidized, we can always just use our axe to scrape some off, and that's not too big of a deal. So what I'm thinking is that it's about time we got the last farm over here that doesn't have at least some semblance of an island. Still need to get the smeltery and the iron farm island fully finished here. But the last farm remaining is the wool farm, and I've got a little bit of an idea of what I want to do for this. Now, as you can see, we already kind of started working on this a long time ago, where we started covering it with cyan wool, and I don't like it. I didn't like it at the time, as soon as I started working on it, and, well, it's about time that it goes. We do need to clean up all of our cauldrons here that we used for getting powdered snow. Probably should go and move these someplace where we actually get snow and not rain now. Just for some reason. This area used to get snow. Now we don't. But I've got an idea of what I want to do for this island here. So what we need is we need a lot of dirt and grass. I'm thinking this layer here is going to be our top of the island. We'll put a building around this. Maybe we'll do it lower. We can always just put stairs inside to go up to the farm if we need to. But I'm going to go roughly plan out an island for this. Get this all torn down because we definitely do not want all this. And keep an eye on our copper tree over there. Hopefully it won't take too long for it to fully oxidize to where we want. Definitely liking the shape and the different patterns in it so far. But I'm gonna go get this set up and then I'll be back. All right, so there we go. We now have entire island for our wool farm in and even decorated. Got that part in. And now all we have left to do for this is cover this thing in a building, which I'm thinking we're going to do a barn out of crimson and mangrove. And I think we're going to do a big barn out of crimson and mangrove. I'm not quite sure how we're going to deal with this backside here. We'll have to figure out how to slant the wall in for that. That's just going to be a bit of a pain. Back here, we can just put a straight wall. And same with this side. Just that back section because we have those 4 extra sheep to get a full set of 20. But while we've been doing that and working a little bit on the gold farm island, that's gotten a little bit of work done on it as well. Can't really see it too well from over here. But while we've been working on that, we've gotten our copper tree fully oxidized. I'm loving how that looks. Very odd, but I like the mix of copper in it. I like how we've got the different oxidation states in there. And we've got most of the different full blocks of copper in there. Just missing the grates here, which I'm thinking we're going to use partially for the leaves. At least once they're kind of built off around this. But to kind of match the different colors of copper, we've got cyan for our fully oxidized and withered. Got orange for our regular copper, and we've got a bit of pink for our exposed. Now, I think those would go good. It'll kind of match our little copper tree here in getting just the different colors in it stand out a little bit more. But I want to mix in grates as well. I think those will be good. Got different oxidation states. They're all waxed, so we don't have to worry about having one of them oxidize further on us. But we just need to go and figure out how we're going to do this, mix these all in. This is definitely going to be interesting. These colors don't really blend well together, unlike the other trees. All of those colors blended, and it just looked nice. But here, we kind of have to be a little bit more deliberate in our leafing. Plus, we've got 7 different things to mix in here, so that's going to be interesting. So I'm going to go get those in, and then I'll be back once I've got something here that I like. And we're ready to start on the barn. And there we go. For better or for worse, we now have a copper tree with various oxidized states of leaves. And I'm not sure I quite like it. I think the pink is a little too bright. I think the orange and the cyan work perfectly with this. The pink looks too bright. And I don't know if I want to replace the pink with more copper grates. I think those are kind of not fitting right with the glass leaves in here. I like the idea of using them like this. They do kind of work pretty well. I think the glass fits a lot better as leaves. And I'm just not sure. Just not sure. Maybe they need to go as part of the branches or something like that. But definitely need to fiddle with that bit more. But for now, we're going to leave it. We'll figure something out eventually. But I think for now, that is probably going to be good. I do need to get the barn in around the wool farm still. I've got some ideas I want to play with before we work on that. We need to take a look at our barn that we built over at our main base. Maybe use that as a bit of inspiration. I want this one to be a little different though. So I think that we are going to save putting that in for another time. I need to play around with some of the ideas I have for it though. Mostly just figuring out the size and how we're going to do that back wall with the extra sheep. That's going to be the hardest part, especially with how close it is to the edge of the island on the back. There's just a lot to work out with it. So I'm going to go fiddle with that and see what I want to do with that copper tree. It doesn't look as bad from a distance. But again, that pink is just way too bright. Might have to take that out. But again, for now, that is going to be it for today. Thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and consider subscribing if you want to see more of what is going on in this area and in the rest of this world. And I will catch you all in the next one. Goodbye.